South African Ashwell Prince may not currently be part of his country's plans in the Test arena, but he produced a high-class innings to keep Lancashire in control of their all-important LV County Championship match with Somerset, with a day to go in Liverpool. Day 3 began with Lancashire starting their second innings with a first innings lead of 36. Nothing had been added to that when Peter Trigo bowled Paul Horton with the 5th ball of the morning. This has been a match dominated by the bowlers, with runs difficult to come by, so the one thing all batsmen must do is make those bowlers work hard for their wickets. Instead, Stephen Moore ran himself out with just a single to his name. Indeed, Lancashire's start could not have got much worse, yet it did when Carl Brown was LBW to Steve Kirby after offering no shot. That put the hosts on 7 for 3, and they looked as if they may be blown apart. After a brief break in the drama, Alfonso Thomas dropped a chance off his own bowling offered by Prince, who was on just 6 at the time. It was a very big moment in this game. Prince and Stephen Croft were able to stick it out for 8 overs, around half an hour, as the total moved along to 31. But then Croft chopped a ball from Thomas back onto his stumps after contributing 13 of those runs. No batsman wants to see the ball wobble as much as Thomas was now making it do. Andrea Agathangalu was fortunate that his first ball was not his last. Not that he stuck around for too long. A perfect in-swinger from Thomas proved to be too good, and he was bowled for 5. Lancashire were just showing a few signs of panic, none more so than when Gareth Cross became the second man to be run out in the space of 15 overs after a bit of pinball on the pitch. Thomas applied the vital throw to leave Lancashire now in a real mess on 50 for 6. That gave them a lead of 86. Not enough, you would have thought. They desperately needed someone to keep Prince company for a while, and they found one in Kyle Hogg. On this pitch you need to have a little bit of fortune to survive, but that's to take nothing away from Hogg, who worked really hard for his runs. Prince, meanwhile, was simply magnificent, thriving on a day where so many of his teammates struggled. At one point later, he went 29 overs without a single boundary. He has had a good season, and this pull-off Trigo took him to his 9th 50-plus score of the season, one in which, for the most part, his fellow batsmen at Lancashire have struggled. This was his second half century of the match, and he's thus far the only player to get there in this low-scoring contest. But he was by no means finished yet. He knew the importance of going on now that he had his eye well and truly set. Finally, for the first time in this game, a partnership of some depth was being developed as this 7th wicket pair added 98. It was ended by Jack Leach, for whom this was a very special moment. Hogg's slice drive to Kirby gave Leach his maiden championship wicket. Hogg was gone for a 38, which was worth many more than that. Thanks to him and Prince, the lead now stood at 184, and soon Somerset knew that they would be chasing the highest score of the match to win this crucial contest. Just how many they would be chasing was down to Prince, who was showing no signs of giving his wicket away. Having seen some runs coming at last, Glenn Chappell's confidence would have been increased, as he proved by this chip for 6 off Leach. However, the 21-year-old debutant soon had his revenge as Chappell edged him to Marcus Trescothick at 180 for 8. Prince was, naturally, by now dominating the scoring. He was constructing an outstanding innings. He's made many good scores in his superb career, but as he drove Thomas for his 8th 4, he looked totally overjoyed about getting to 3 figures here. He'd run between the wickets brilliantly, worked with the tail magnificently, and had now been rewarded with 100 off 190 balls in 4.5 hours. He'd taken the total beyond 200 by the time that Ajmal Shahzad was legged before to the relieved Jamal Hussain. But still, Prince kept going in what had become a one-man show. Apart from his own 51 in the first innings, the best score in this match by a batsman is 45, but Prince was now bringing out all of his shots as he added another very important 38 runs for the last wicket with Simon Carrigan. Prince was finally out as he swung across a ball from Trigo to be given out LBW, but by then he'd made 129 out of his side's 242. It was an extraordinary effort which had left Somerset a tough target of 279. They had 11 overs to survive before the close, but crucially they lost Arul Sapaya leg before to Chappell in the 3rd over. Trescothick was also close to going in the same manner, the ball just pitching outside leg on this occasion. So Trescothick survived along with Nick Compton, and by doing so, Somerset won't have given up the fight just yet. They produced some wonderful last day performances over the last couple of seasons, and this, should they win, would be amongst the best of them. They go into the last day on 22 for 1, needing a further 257 runs for a famous victory.